Eric Donovan straightened his tie as the massive doors to the Galactic Confederation Council chamber slid open. After months of preparation and a journey spanning 17 light-years, Earth's moment had finally arrived. The chamber was a marvel of alien architecture. Vast dome supported by crystalline columns that seemed to shift colors with the changing light. Representatives from over 30 spacefaring civilizations sat in tiered seats around a central speaking platform. Some were humanoid, others utterly alien, from crystalline entities to gaseous beings contained in specialized suits. Eric took a deep breath and stepped forward. Distinguished representatives of the Galactic Confederation, he began, his voice steady despite his racing heart. I stand before you as ambassador of Earth, bringing greetings from our unified governments and our 8 billion citizens. A low murmur spread through the chamber. Eric continued, for centuries, humanity dreamed of the stars. In the past 100 years, we have established colonies on our moon, Mars, and several moons of Jupiter. Our deep space probes have traveled beyond our solar system, and our first interstellar colony ship will launch next year. The Zarlak representative, a six-limbed being with iridescent skin, leaned forward. And what precisely does Earth wish from this body? Eric smiled confidently. Earth petitions for probationary membership in the Galactic Confederation. We believe our civilization has reached the technological and social development warranting inclusion. There was a moment of silence. Then a sound Eric didn't immediately recognize rippled through the chamber. It started with the Exaltarian delegate, a tall, willowy creature with 12 blinking eyes, and quickly spread to others. Laughter. They were laughing. The human thinks their species is ready for membership. The Exaltarians translator conveyed the mocking tone perfectly. They'd barely left their own planetary system. They still use combustion rockets for some transport, added another delegate, triggering more laughter. The Draven ambassador, who resembled blue-skinned humanoid with geometric patterns covering his face, raised a hand. Earth has only achieved unified government in the last decade. Before that, they spent millennia killing each other over land and resources. And let's not forget, added a floating crystalline entity, they nearly destroyed their planet through environmental negligence. They're still repairing that damage. Eric felt heat rising in his face, but maintained his diplomatic composure. With respect, many member civilizations overcame similar challenges. Earth has made remarkable progress in. Remarkable for primitives, perhaps, interrupted the Exaltarian, but the Confederacy has standards. Your species is simply too young, too undeveloped. Perhaps in another century, you might qualify for observer status. The council president, a dignified being with feathered ridges where hair would be on a human, raised her hand for silence. Ambassador Donovan, the council appreciates Earth's ambition. However, we must officially decline your petition for membership at this time. Her tone was gentler than the others, but the dismissal was clear. Earth is deemed technologically insignificant and culturally primitive by Confederacy standards. I see. Eric said quietly, may I ask what specific benchmarks Earth would need to achieve for reconsideration? More chuckles rippled through the chamber. The president answered, typically, civilization must demonstrate capabilities beyond simple interstellar travel, revolutionary energy technology, significant contributions to galactic science or culture, or unique defensive capabilities that would benefit the Confederacy. Eric nodded stiffly. Thank you for your consideration. 3 days later, he sat across from President Olivia Martinez in the Oval Office. They laughed at us, he said, the humiliation still fresh. Treated us like children who wandered into an adult conversation. President Martinez studied the official rejection document. So that's it. We're not good enough. Not yet, Eric replied, a determined edge entering his voice, but they've inadvertently given us a road map. If they won't accept us as equals, we'll make ourselves indispensable, Doctor. Natalie Foster rubbed her tired eyes and stared at the data scrolling across her screen. For the 5th time that night, the results made no sense. The energy readings from the test chamber showed power generation far beyond what should be possible. Paul, can you check the sensors again? These numbers can't be right, she called to her assistant. Paul Gordon, a graduate student with uncombed hair and 3 days of stubble, looked up from his workstation. I've checked them twice already. The sensors are working perfectly. Whatever's happening in that chamber is real. Natalie walked to the sealed test chamber and peered through the observation window. Inside, a simple apparatus held a small amount of a bluish material suspended in an electromagnetic field. According to all known physics, the reaction taking place should have burned itself out hours ago. Instead, it was producing more energy with each passing minute. It's impossible, she whispered, but the evidence was undeniable. 3 days of non-stop testing later, Natalie called an emergency meeting with the North American Physics Institute's board. The room fell silent as she finished her presentation. So to summarize, said Director Frank Williams, his voice betraying his amazement, you've discovered an energy conversion process that produces 10 times the output of our most advanced fusion reactors, requires minimal fuel, and generates 0 harmful emissions. Yes, Natalie said simply, we're calling it the Foster reaction for now. It seems to tap into energy from, well, we don't fully understand where the energy comes from. It's as if it's pulling power from another dimension. The applications are endless, added Paul, excitement making his voice crack. One reactor the size of a car engine could power a small city. Larger one could drive a spacecraft at speeds we've only dreamed of. Implications hung in the air. This wasn't just a scientific breakthrough. It was a planetary game changer. 200 mi away, in a classified military research facility buried deep in the Rocky Mountains, Major Alan Wright was witnessing a different kind of miracle. Hit it again, he ordered, watching through protective goggles as the test chamber was bombarded with high-energy plasma, the shimmering field surrounding the small metal sphere inside the chamber flickered briefly but held. Lieutenant Sofia Rivera checked her instruments, shield integrity at 97%. Sir, that's after 20 consecutive hits at maximum power. Nothing we have should be able to withstand that kind of punishment. Alan nodded, allowing himself a small smile. After 5 years of failures, they'd finally done it. The defensive shield technology originally inspired by science fiction. Movies was now science fact. Run the simulation for the Confederacy weapons. We have on file, he ordered Sophia. Entered the commands. The computer calculated for several seconds, then displayed the results. According to these projections, sir, our shield would withstand even their most advanced weaponry. And our power requirements. That's the problem, Sophia admitted. The shield works, but its energy needs are enormous. No current power source could sustain it for more than a few minutes in combat conditions. Ellen frowned, then remembered a bulletin he'd received that morning. There might be a solution. Some physicist at NAPI has developed a new energy source. I'm meeting with her team next week. 3 months later, President Martinez sat at her desk, reading reports from both research teams. Foster reaction and Wright shield technologies were developing at an astonishing pace. Combined, they represented a quantum leap in humanity's technological capabilities. Her secure phone rang. It was the Director of Intelligence. Madam President, our deep space monitoring stations have detected unusual activity. The Galactic Confederacy appears to be under attack from a previously unknown force. Multiple systems are reporting heavy combat. Martinez closed the reports. Keep monitoring. Tell no one outside our inner circle and accelerate both Project Foster and Project Wright. Earth may need them sooner than we thought. 2 years after Earth's rejection from the Galactic Confederacy, the skies over New Washington burned. Not from attack, Earth remained untouched, but from the arrival of a massive alien vessel. Unlike the sleek, elegant ships of the Confederacy, this one bore battle scars and emergency repairs. It limped into orbit, broadcasting urgent diplomatic codes. President Olivia Martinez stood in the newly constructed extraterrestrial reception center, surrounded by her security team and key advisors. Ambassador Eric Donovan, recalled from his post at the Mars colony after the rejection, stood at her side. They're hailing us directly, said Communications Director Sam Powell. It's the Confederacy Council President herself. Put her through, Martinez ordered. The large screen flickered to life. The feathered ridges on the council president's head, once proudly displayed, now appeared ragged and unkempt. Behind her, officials from various species rushed back and forth. President Martinez, the alien leader, began, her translator conveying both her words and her desperation. I come seeking urgent discourse with Earth's leadership, Council. President Martinez replied coolly. This is unexpected. Earth was deemed too primitive for regular contact with the Confederacy. The alien leader's expression showed discomfort at the reminder. Circumstances have changed dramatically. The Macrovian Empire launched a surprise attack against our outer worlds 2 months ago. Half our systems have fallen. Eric stepped forward. The Macrovians. They weren't even represented at the council meeting I attended. They existed beyond our known space, the president explained. We had only legends of their civilization. It appears they've been watching us, preparing while remaining hidden. Martinez nodded slowly. And what exactly do you want from Earth? The Macrovians possess technology we've never encountered. Our best defenses fail against their weapons. Our fleets are in retreat. We need The alien leader paused clearly, struggling with what came next. We request sanctuary on Earth for our government officials and key scientific personnel. A heavy silence filled the room. You're asking for asylum, Eric clarified, from us primitive humans. We have few options left. The council president admitted. The Macrovians have demanded unconditional surrender. Those who resist are eliminated. We believe Earth's isolation from galactic affairs may have kept you off their initial target list. Martinez exchanged glances with her Defense Secretary Kyle Bennett, who gave a subtle nod. How many ships are pursuing you? Martinez asked. None currently. We used experimental technology to mask our trajectory, but the Macrovians are methodical. They will eventually look toward your solar system. Martinez studied the alien leader. Let me understand this correctly. You rejected Earth's petition to join your confederacy. You laughed at our technology and culture. Now that you're losing a war, you want to hide behind our primitiveness. The council president's feathers drooped further. I understand your resentment, but this crisis threatens all spacefaring species. If the Macrovians prevail, Earth will eventually face them alone. Secretary Bennett whispered to Martinez. Intelligence confirms massive energy discharges consistent with space battles. In the region she mentioned, whatever's happening out there is real. Martinez turned back to the screen. We'll need to discuss your request. In the meantime, your ship may maintain orbit. No weapon systems are to be activated or we'll consider it hostile action. Understood, the council president replied. How long before we receive your answer? Martinez smiled thinly. The Confederacy took 3 days to reject Earth's petition. We'll extend the same courtesy. 3 days for your request. After the communication ended, Eric turned to the president. What are you thinking? I'm thinking, Martinez replied, that the universe has an interesting sense of humor, and that we finally have leverage to get Confederacy membership. Eric asked. No, Martinez said, her eyes hard with determination. To reset the entire relationship, Earth won't be begging to join their club anymore. They'll be asking to join ours. Secretary of Defense Kimberly West sat at the head of the long conference table in the Pentagon's secure meeting room. Across from her sat 5 representatives from the Galactic Confederacy, each from a different species, each looking increasingly uncomfortable as the silence stretched. The Saltarian delegate, whose 12 eyes had once blinked with amusement at Earth's expense, now darted nervous glances around the room. The meeting was 20 minutes in and Earth's representatives had yet to give any indication of their decision. Perhaps the Saltarian finally said, breaking the silence, we should discuss the numerous benefits Earth would receive by hosting our leadership. Our scientists could share considerable knowledge. Excuse me, Kimberly interrupted, her voice calm but firm. Let's be clear about something. You're not in a position to offer benefits. You're requesting asylum. The delegates exchanged glances. The Draven representative leaned forward, the geometric patterns on his blue face shifting with his expression. With respect, Secretary West, the Confederacy represents thousands of years of advanced civilization. Even in our current predicament, we have much to offer Earth. Kimberly opened a folder in front of her. According to The transcript of Ambassador Donovan's meeting with your council 2 years ago. You described humans as barely evolved, primates playing with rockets. You deemed us technologically insignificant and culturally primitive. She looked up. Have these assessments changed, or are you simply desperate? The council president's feathered ridges flattened against her head in embarrassment. We may have been hasty in our judgment. Hasty, Kimberly repeated flatly. Well, we have reviewed your petition for asylum, and we will consider it. She used their exact phrasing from years before, watching as they recognized their own dismissive words. However, she continued, Earth is interested in a partnership, not a charity case. The Zarlak representative's iridescent skin darkened with emotion. Partnership, you cannot be serious. Despite your progress, Earth remains a single system. Civilization. Ambassador Donovan, who had been silently observing, finally spoke. A single system that isn't currently losing a war. The room fell silent again. Kimberly slid a document across the table. These are our terms for an alliance with the Confederacy, not asylum alliance. The council president picked up the document, her eyes widening as she read. This demands Earth be granted immediate full membership in the Confederacy with equal voting rights to founding members. It requires human leadership positions in joint military operations. This would require a complete restructuring of our governance system. Yes, Kimberly agreed simply. This is outrageous. The assaultarian sputtered. You're exploiting our crisis. Kimberly's expression remained unchanged. No. We're establishing that if we're good enough to save you, we're good enough to stand beside you. She nodded to an aide who activated a wall screen showing orbital images of the Confederacy refugee ship. Your vessel's power systems are failing. Your shields are compromised. Your weapon systems couldn't fight off a school of Earth dolphins right now. What choice do we have? The council president asked quietly. The same choice we had 2 years ago. Eric said, accept rejection and find another way forward. Kimberly stood up. We'll give you some time to discuss. Earth is prepared to help. The days of Earth begging for recognition are over. As the Earth delegation left the room, Eric whispered to Kimberly, they'll never agree to all our terms. They don't have to agree to all of them, she replied. But they need to understand that the power dynamic has changed. President Martinez authorized me to compromise on some points, but not on equal membership or military cooperation. And if they refuse, Kimberly's expression softened slightly. They won't. They can't. But even if they did, we'd still offer humanitarian aid. Earth won't abandon people in need, even those who mocked us, she smiled. That's one of those cultural primitives they look down on. We call it compassion. The demonstration chamber in the Pentagon sub-basement had been converted into a makeshift presentation area. The Confederacy delegates sat in uncomfortable metal chairs there, various anatomies struggling to fit human furniture. The council president's aide whispered, translations for technical terms there. Universal translators couldn't handle. Dr. Natalie Foster stood beside a sealed container roughly the size of a microwave oven. Her hands were steady, but her heart raced. 2 years of secret development had led to this moment. What I'm about to show you, she began, is Earth's answer to energy production. Challenges. We call it the Foster reaction. She activated the device. A soft blue glow emanated from its core, and holographic displays around the room lit up with energy readings. The Zarlek representative studied the numbers, his 6 limbs twitching in obvious agitation. This can't be correct. These output levels would require a fundamentally new approach to physics. Natalie finished for him. Yes. She adjusted several controls, and the blue glow intensified. This demonstration unit could power this entire building. A larger version could power a city, and a reactor the size of a car could drive a starship faster than anything in your fleet. The delegates exchanged glances, the 12 eyes blinking rapidly. How did you develop this? Our scientists have researched similar principles for centuries without success. Natalie smiled. Necessity and focus. When you rejected Earth's petition, our governments redirected resources from diplomatic efforts to scientific research. Sometimes fresh eyes see solutions where others see only problems. Before the delegates could respond, Major Alan Wright entered the room. Behind him, soldiers wheeled in what looked like a simple metal cube. This, Wright said without preamble, is the practical application of Dr. Foster's energy breakthrough. He nodded to a technician who activated a control panel. A shimmering field surrounded the cube. Fire when ready. Wright ordered. From the ceiling, a weapons port opened, and a beam of intense energy struck the shielded cube. The shield flared but held steady. 3 more beams joined the first, all hitting simultaneously. What you're witnessing, Wright explained, is our defensive shield technology, withstanding the equivalent of your Confederacy's most powerful ship-based weapons according to the specifications we have. The council president rose from her seat, approaching the demonstration. Cautiously, this is impossible. Your civilization was using chemical rockets just decades ago. Ambassador Donovan stepped forward. When you rejected us, you did more than wound our pride. You challenged us. Every resource that would have gone toward diplomatic missions, cultural exchanges, and trade negotiations was redirected. The United Nations General Assembly Hall had never hosted such a diverse gathering. Humans filled most seats, but one section contained delegates from 17 Confederacy species. News cameras broadcast the event globally and to colonies on Mars and the moons of Jupiter. President Olivia Martinez stepped to the podium, her blue suit crisp against the UN emblem. Beside her stood the Confederacy Supreme Chancellor, a dignified figure whose crystalline body structure caught and refracted the lights. Today marks a turning point in human history, Martinez began. For millennia we looked to the stars and wondered if we were alone. When we learned we weren't, we sought to join the galactic community as equals. That request was denied. She paused, letting the weight of those words settle. Now circumstances have brought us together in ways none could have predicted. The Chancellor moved forward. His translator conveyed his resonant voice. The Galactic Confederacy acknowledges its error in judgment regarding Earth. In our arrogance we dismissed civilization of remarkable potential and adaptability. Today we correct that mistake. Together, Martinez and the Chancellor turned to display screen showing the formal alliance document, both placed their hands on DNA-keyed signature pads. The document glowed briefly as it registered their biological confirmation. The blue-white streak of the hybrid fleet tore through the darkness of space. 20 Earth vessels led the formation, each trailing 3 Confederacy ships, connected by energy tethers. Admiral Joseph Garcia stood on the bridge of the lead ship, Earth Force One, watching tactical displays track their approach to the Macrobian-occupied Proxima system. Time to intercept, Garcia asked. 17 minutes. Admiral, replied Lieutenant Ryan Diaz. Macrobian patrols have not altered course. They haven't detected us. Garcia nodded. Earth shield technology had been modified to mask energy signatures, allowing the fleet to approach unnoticed. The Foster reactors hummed quietly, providing more power than the ships could use. This was the Alliance's first major counteroffensive after 2 months of smaller skirmishes. Signal all ships, Garcia ordered. Final weapons check. Remind Earth vessels that we want to disable, not destroy when possible. The Draven liaison officer, Commander Carax, looked up from his station. The Macrovians show no such restraint. Admiral, they'd vaporize everything they encounter, which is why we're better than them. Garcia replied simply. Ready the disruption field. This was Earth's newest breakthrough, a technology that could disable Macrovian systems without destroying their ships. It had been tested in simulations, but never in actual combat. The fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Proxima system. Immediately alarms blared as Macrovian patrol ships detected their arrival. Enemy vessels moving to intercept. Reported Diaz, 12 ships, heavy weapons charging. Hold position, Garcia ordered. Let them come to us. The Macrovian ships, angular, dark vessels covered in weapon ports, accelerated toward the Alliance fleet. They fired without warning, energy beams lancing through space, the shields on. Earth Force One flared brilliant blue, but held steady. The connected Confederacy vessels remained protected within the shield bubble. Disruption field ready. Admiral called the weapons officer. Wait, Garcia said, watching the incoming ships. Let them get closer. We need maximum effect. The Macrovian vessels, emboldened by the Alliance fleet's apparent passivity, formed an attack wedge and closed rapidly. Now, Garcia ordered, from Earth Force One and its companion Earth vessels, waves of energy pulsed outward, not destructive beams but expanding fields of influence. When they washed over the Macrovian ships, the effect was immediate. The enemy vessels went dark, their momentum carrying them forward, but all systems offline. Disruption field successful, reported Diaz, unable to keep excitement from his voice. All 12 ships disabled. Launch boarding teams, Garcia ordered. I want prisoners and intact ships for study. Across the system, the pattern repeated. The hybrid fleet moved methodically from planet to moon, neutralizing Macrovian forces without destroying them. Within hours, the entire Proxima system was back under Confederacy control. In the following weeks, the Alliance liberated 6 more systems using the same tactics. The Macrovians, accustomed to enemies who either fled or fought conventionally, had no defense against Earth's disruption technology for the first time since their invasion began. They were retreating. On the Macrovian command carrier, Emperor Zyle summoned his war council. His segmented exoskeleton clicked. Angrily as he paced, "Explain." He demanded how primitive vessels are defeating our advanced fleet. His chief scientist displayed analysis of recent battles, the disruption field emanating from these vessels temporarily neutralizes our quantum circuitry, its technology. We've never encountered what species commands these ships, the Emperor asked. According to intercepted communication, they call themselves humans from a planet named Earth. The Emperor froze. Earth? Our intelligence indicated that they were a pre-space-faring civilization, barely worth monitoring. They weren't even Confederacy members. That information appears outdated, the scientist admitted. These humans have developed technology that surpasses even our own in specific applications. Emperor Zyle turned to his military commander. Rethink our strategy. These humans change everything. Meanwhile, aboard Earth Force One, Garcia received a transmission from Earth. President Martinez's face appeared on the main screen. Congratulations, Admiral. 7 systems liberated in 3 weeks. The Confederacy representatives can't stop singing your praises. It's the technology, Madam President. The McClovians have no defense against our disruption field. Martinez smiled. Which is why they just contacted us through back channels, requesting to open diplomatic communications. They want to talk terms. Garcia raised an eyebrow. Already? Apparently, they're quite eager to understand how a primitive primate species develop technology that renders their invasion fleet helpless. Her smile widened. I believe the phrase they used translates roughly to respectfully request dialogue with Earth leadership. Funny how quickly attitudes change, Garcia observed. Indeed, prepare to return to Earth for these discussions. The McClovians specifically requested your presence. My presence, Garcia asked, surprised. Yes, it seems you've made quite an impression on them. Martinez's expression turned serious. You've done well, Admiral. Earth is proud, and the galaxy is noticing. The Grand Hall of the former Confederacy headquarters on Centauri Prime buzzed with activity. Representatives from over 50 worlds gathered for the most significant diplomatic event in recent galactic history. Banners from each civilization hung from the high ceiling, with Earth's flag prominently displayed. In the center, 1 year after the formation of the Earth Confederacy alliance, the McClovian Empire had surrendered unconditionally. What began as a desperate last stand had transformed into a complete reversal of fortune. Now delegates gathered to sign the peace treaty and discuss the future of interstellar relations. Ambassador Eric Donovan, recently appointed as Earth's first High Commissioner to what would soon be the Interstellar Union, adjusted his formal attire as he prepared to address the assembly. Beside him stood President Martinez and Admiral Garcia, both wearing expressions of dignified satisfaction. Nervous? Martinez asked quietly. A little, Eric admitted. 3 years ago, I stood before a room like this and was laughed at. Now I'm proposing a complete restructuring of galactic governance. They're not laughing anymore, she replied. The Macroobian delegation entered, led by a subdued Emperor Zell, his once intimidating exoskeleton now seemed merely functional rather than threatening. Behind him walked representatives from worlds that had supported his empire, now facing the consequences of backing the losing side. The former Confederacy Council President called the assembly to order. We gather today to formalize peace between all worlds and to consider Earth's proposal for a new form of interstellar cooperation. Eric approached the central podium. He looked out at the gathered delegates, many of the same beings who had dismissed humanity as primitive just 3 years earlier. Their expressions now showed respect, curiosity, and in some cases, lingering disbelief at how quickly everything had changed. Distinguished representatives, Eric began. 3 years ago I stood before the Confederacy Council, requesting Earth's admission. That request was rejected. Earth was deemed technologically insignificant and culturally primitive. He paused, letting the words hang in the air. Many delegates shifted uncomfortably. Today, I do not come to request Earth's admission to your organization. Instead, I propose we create something new together. The Interstellar Union, holographic displays activated around the hall, showing the proposed structure of the new organization. The Galactic Confederacy was founded on principles of technological achievement. Membership and influence were determined by how advanced your ships were, how many planets you controlled, how long your species had traveled the stars. These are not invalid measures, but they are incomplete. Eric moved through the displays, highlighting key points of the proposal. The Interstellar Union will value technological achievement equally with cultural contributions, ethical governance, and ecological stewardship. A civilization that produces magnificent art but modest spacecraft will have the same standing as one with advanced weapons but limited philosophy. The Draven representative stood. This would fundamentally alter power balances that have existed for millennia. Yes, Eric agreed simply. That's the point. The old system led to stagnation and vulnerability. When the Macrovians attacked, many worlds with valuable insights had no voice because they lacked military power. The Saltarian delegates' 12 eyes blinked rapidly. And where would Earth stand in this new arrangement? As equals, Eric replied. Nothing more, nothing less. Earth never sought dominance, only partnership. We believe every civilization has something valuable to contribute, whether it's art, science, philosophy, or technology. He gestured to the assembled delegates. The stars have room for all of us if we approach each other with respect rather than ridicule. Emperor Zell rose from his seat. The room tensed as the defeated Macrobian leader approached the central floor. The Empire acknowledges Earth's vision, he stated formally. Our civilization focused solely on technological and military advancement for 10,000 years. Look where it led us. Defeated by a species we dismissed as irrelevant. Perhaps there is wisdom in this new approach. Eric nodded acknowledgement. The Union would welcome Macrobian cultural and scientific contributions once certain disarmament conditions are met. As discussions continued through the day, the proposal was refined, but its core remained intact. When the final vote came, the result was unanimous. The same delegates who had once laughed at Earth's petition now approved its Vision for galactic governance. Later, in a quiet moment before the formal signing ceremony, the former council president approached Eric. "I must ask," she said, her feathered ridges now smooth and elegant again. "Did you plan this outcome all along? From the moment we rejected Earth's petition?" Eric smiled. "No one could have planned this. But when you rejected us, you taught us an important lesson. Sometimes being underestimated is the greatest advantage of all. A lesson the galaxy won't soon forget." She acknowledged, extending her hand in the human gesture of respect she had learned. As Eric took her hand, he thought about the long journey from humiliation to leadership. Earth had found its place among the stars, not by begging for acceptance, but by demonstrating its worth when it mattered most.